Hello, beautiful humans. It has been a couple of weeks since I dropped an episode, so I apologize for that. But I was out of town for about a week, which kind of threw everything awry. So this is going to be kind of weeks 7, 8, and 9 mixed all together. And if you haven't been following along, this is a 6-month podcast series where I am diving into all things full-time self-employment. Okay. It has been about 2 months now, a little over 2 months now, I guess if we're on week 9, that I left my day job and decided to go all the fuck in on building my businesses, on building Book of Bijou, on building Empowered by Women, more so Empowered by Women in this moment, but we'll dive into that. And this 6-month series is really keeping me accountable. But also I thought it would be really, really cool to be able to come back to this in the future and see all of the things that transpired in these next 6 months, but also to provide you all inspiration and also insight into the things that I'm working on. So potentially, if you're listening, you can take some of the little mindset tidbits or the strategies that I'm putting into place and see how you can implement them into your own business. So that is the goal of this 6-month podcast series. So again, this episode is going to be a couple weeks worth of information. So stay with me. If you didn't catch the first few episodes, go back and listen. Okay. So we can be along this ride together. You know exactly what I'm doing. You know exactly what my goals are and what I'm currently working on in this season. So let's see. Okay. So episode 6 is when I shared that I decided to launch a one-to-one coaching offer. So let's start there. That has been a really exciting thing for me, just because, as I mentioned in the last episode, that was something that I was thinking about for quite some time, and I finally decided to launch it. So I do have 2 active clients right now. I know in episode 6, I said my goal was 3. Honestly, I haven't really been I haven't actively promoting it, but not like formally promoting it. So we'll dive into that. But even though I've mentioned I would take on 3 clients, I have had the opportunity to have my first sessions with my 2 clients. And I loved it so much. Like, I got so lit up about the things that we're doing that I'm like, I just want to support more and more women. So I'm kind of flexible with what my limitation is, so still being mindful of my capacity, but then also still being mindful of the fact that, like, girl, you are full-time self-employed. You still got to also make money. So don't limit yourself too much, but also don't take on more than you can chew. So that's kind of where I'm at. So 3 to 5 feels like my sweet spot. And the way that I've been promoting it has been very more like casual. And I absolutely only want to take clients that feel really aligned to me and that I also feel really confident that I can support in some way. I'm not just going to take on a client just because they can pay me in full or whatever. Like, if I feel like I can't support you, I'm not going to take you on, because that would be a disservice to the both of us, and we're not going to do that. Okay. So I have sent it to maybe for sure less than 10 people. I've sent the proposal to less than 10 people. And again, it's just like happens to come up very naturally in different conversations. Back when I posted episode 6, like, I had posted about the coaching offer a couple times on my stories, threw a couple polls in there about who would be interested, blah, blah, blah. I did book a client from that. And then from there, I've also gotten a lot of interest, and I've sent the proposal to some of those people that have showed their interest, really prioritizing anyone that's already a member of the community, because obviously we have more than 100 members in this community now, and I only have 2 to 3 more spots available. So that's also part of the reason why I'm not pushing it out so heavily, because I don't want to be inundated with requests that I can't support. And I know that's looking at it very positively, but I want to just be very mindful of who I'm sending the invites to. So of the people that I have sent the invites to so far, or sent the proposals to for their review, I have gotten a lot of interest. And for the most part, almost every single one of them I have not yet signed has said that they're interested, but maybe like they need to wait a month or two, which is totally okay, because that is basically meaning that I have, oh, excuse me, that I have all of these already warmed up leads, so that when I'm done with my current clients and then that space opens up, then I can always follow back with someone who already said, yes, I love it, I want to do it, but maybe in a couple of months. I already know who that person is going to be, or those people are going to be that I can reach out to, right? So I'm not starting from scratch. So I'm totally fine with building this like warmed up pipeline of people that are excited to work with me. They're just making sure that their timing is right. And I want to, anyone that offers any kind of services like that, like, it's always going to benefit the both of you by making sure the timing is right, right? Because if you're bringing on a client that is not actually ready to do the work, but you feel like you need to bring them on just because you need the money or you want the money right now, like, it's not going to serve either of you, because you're going to tell them all of the things to do and they're not going to have the capacity to do it, or they're not going to be in that place and in that season of their business where they have the resources to be able to do it and to attain the results that you're helping them to attain, or that you should be helping them to attain. But again, they're not in the space to do the work. So they're not getting the results that you're seeing. And that is also going to start to reflect on you as a coach and what it is that you're offering, because now you have this client that isn't seeing the results, and that's not something that you can leverage as like a success story, a transformation story, whatever it is, right, that you can share in the future. So that's something that I'm being really mindful of. And I want to make sure my girlies are ready to work with me, because when they do, like, we're going full force, we're hitting the ground running, and we are really going to maximize our time together. So in case I didn't mention it already, I feel like I did, but the structure of my coaching that I'm offering is 5 1-hour sessions over 3 months. So I've only done the first session with my clients so far. And that session has really been, let's build the foundation first. Let's get clarity on what your goals are. And also, like, what is your main offer? What is your main lead gen? What does your ideal client journey look like? And do the systems that you currently have in place support that vision, or do they not? And what I've seen so far is that they do have this vision, but their systems either weren't in place, or the systems that they did have in place didn't support that vision, right? It kind of took their clients on this different path that wasn't their ideal path. And we want to make sure, regardless of what business you are in, you want to build this ecosystem that makes it really easy for your clients to navigate through, right? Whatever your lead gen is, how are they getting in? And are you making it easy for them to understand what is the next step? Or do they come into your world and they're overwhelmed and confused by all the things? I know as women, we are multifaceted and we tend to be very multi-passionate. And I am a true believer that you can be all the things that you want to be, girl. Okay. I'm not going to tell you to be like, no, get rid of all that stuff, focus on one thing. If you want to go ahead and be an actress and be an author and be a coach, baby girl, do you. Do you, but make it easy for your audience to understand all of those things without overwhelming them, right? Get really clear on how you're positioning yourself, to certain people, to your client avatar, right? And making it easy for them to navigate all the things that they need to navigate so that they can work with you, if they want to work with you, and so you can meet them where they're at. This is another conversation that we actually touched on during one of our weekly Momentum calls. Really getting clear on your messaging, right? Like, what does your elevator pitch sound like? And does it overwhelm you trying to pitch it? Because if it overwhelms you trying to pitch it because you're trying to cram all of these little details into your pitch, into your introduction, it's going to overwhelm the person receiving it, right? Because if you feel like it's a lot, it's absolutely going to be a lot on the receiving end. So even though we can be doing all these things and we can have all these offers, that doesn't mean that you need to shove it in everyone's face from the get-go, right? So getting really clear on what your client journey is, what is the main entrance that they're walking through? What is the main, endpoint, the first endpoint or checkpoint or whatever that they're going to walk towards. And then from there, how do they get to this thing? How do they get to this thing, right? If you have an event and a yearly program and a 3-month one-to-one offer, what is the ideal route to go in, and how are all of those things connected? And is it presented in a way that's really clear to follow? So those are the things that I've been working on with my clients for the first session. Let's get clear on the foundation. Let's build the systems to make it easy. Let's create the funnels to lead them in all of the right places and to give them the nudge in the right direction, so that at the end of the day, they can be like, damn, I love working with you. Okay, great. We did this thing. Like, how could I continue to work with you? And that answer is already there right in front of their face, so that you can keep those clients in your ecosystem and continuing to work with you on repeat. So freakingly lit up about that. And I'm continuing to, again, share that offer with the people that I feel are aligned. If you are listening and you're like, damn, I need that, send me a DM. Let's chat. We can definitely hop on a discovery call, talk about what your goals are, see if I can support you. I would love to be able to do that for you. And I'm excited. I'm just excited to see where this takes me. So with that said, now knowing that I'm entering this coaching space, I've already kind of made the proclamation that I'm going to take my personal Instagram account that used to have like a lot of family things, a lot of OOTDs, okay, outfit of the day, hashtag posts. That used to be what it was for, but I honestly, like, I couldn't keep up with all of that with everything else that has been going on in life, with like when I had my 9-to-5 and with building the businesses and with actually having the kids and being present with them. Like, I was never that girl that would just like post all the things from their vacation or from their day. I tried it. It didn't work out for me. It wasn't very sustainable. So over time, over these past couple of years, I had been like hyper focused on the Empowered by Women Instagram. And of course, I would just like tag my personal page if it was something like me speaking. Like, that's something that I've been doing this past year, because again, with my speaking goal is to book a 10K speaking gig by the end of the year, ideally by September, by the end of the 6-month podcast series that we're doing together, or to at least book 5 different paid speaking gigs. That's option number 2 if option number 1 doesn't pan out. But I know that I need to position myself as a speaker if people are going to book me as a speaker. So instead of letting my personal brand kind of just fizzle out, I've decided, okay, I don't want the Empowered by Women social media to be full of my face, because it's not about me. Like, I will happily take a bit back seat. Obviously, I'm still like, leading a lot of the things. I'm at the events, I'm emceeing the summits, I'm leading the calls, all of that. But I don't want it to be about me. I want it to be about all of the women in our community. So I want our social media to reflect that. But on my personal side of things, I've been adding myself as a collaborator for all of the things that I've been speaking at, right? All of the different in-person summits, in-person events, virtual summits, whatever that is, so that anyone that is booking speakers can go to my personal IG and see this whole digital resume of all the things that I've done in the past. So I know that I need more content for that. I'm really excited about transitioning that social media page, that Instagram page, into like my full like speaker reel. So that's going to be really exciting. And I also wanted to be able to support me nurturing all of my coaching clients or potential coaching clients, right? So along with all of the speaker stuff, I'm going to be posting things with like little quick clips of like mindset things, strategy things, like how are you building your community? How are you positioning yourself as an expert? How are you getting visible? How are you laying down the foundation for some strategic partnerships? I'm going to be sharing all of those things on that Instagram page. Okay, so if you aren't following me already, I am Crystal J. Follow me on Instagram if you're looking for that kind of content. So with that said, I actually did the content lab day with one of our girls, Hazel of Hazel Luna Design. So we spent 4 hours together yesterday, And it was so much fun. And basically we chatted about like, what are my goals with the content that I want to create for that Instagram page. And I got to do a few different outfit changes. And basically like she came over to the house. We set up different like vignettes where I can take photos. There was one image that we were preparing where basically what I'm wanting to position myself as is the visibility expert, right? And people are already seeing me as that, which is incredible, but I want to continue nurturing that sentiment, right? So when people think of my name or see me or whatever, like that's what I'm going to be known as, but I know I need to position myself as that. So one of the shots that we did was when I took all of the magazines that we've been featured in, or some of them. We definitely didn't do all of them. And I was sitting on the floor and then I opened up all of these magazines to our features in those magazines. Some of them had my photos on them. Some of them had the photos of some of the women that we've been able to feature in different magazines. And it was just so cool because I was like, I had a moment during that part of the shoot where I was like looking around and I was like, damn, that's pretty cool. Like before my first magazine feature, I couldn't fathom like, how do people even get into magazines, right? And I've seen over time, like a lot of people are buying into magazines, like they're paying for their features. I've paid for one magazine feature and we have been in so many. And it can be so easy to put yourself out there and to build your visibility and to become your own PR person. And to see myself surrounded by all of these publications was a pretty surreal experience to say like, damn, like I did that, we did that. And it actually wasn't as like crazy unattainable as I would have imagined back in the day. So that's definitely something that I want to support my clients with, being able to do that for themselves, right? How are we getting you visible? But the shoot was so much fun. We even went to a little cafe. Oh my gosh, that was so awkward. Taking photos where of course, there would be the most people I've ever seen in that cafe ever. The time that we're going to go there and take some pictures. So we made it very, very brief. And then we headed over to one of our members' showrooms, Low & Co Event Rentals, who has like the cutest furniture for all of your event rental needs. She's out in Hercules. So we went over to her showroom and did a couple more shoots. We took some photos of me like in this really cute outfit, like strutting down the sidewalk. And I'm excited to have this whole like content vaults to be able to use in the future as I continue to create content and share all of those tips and tricks and insights and position myself as an expert in that field, right? In what does it look like to build a business, to build your personal brand, and to position yourself as an expert. So can't wait for those to come out. Obviously, once they do, you'll see them in the various places. But if you are needing content, reach out to Hazel. She is amazing. You will love her. Okay. What else did I do? Let's talk about speaking a little bit more because that's something that we kind of already like gone down that path now. One thing that I've done to again support me in my speaking goals is, you already know that I've carved out at least an hour every week. Like I've actually put it on my calendar to have an hour every week where I am doing something speaking related, right? Doing something that is building my speaking business. And the one thing that I did during my hour last week, I ended up looking into Innovation Women. I don't remember how I got connected with them. I think someone I knew sent it to me or was also a part of it. I'm not sure. But Innovation Women is almost like a speakers bureau, but kind of not really. I wanted a speaker agent. So basically someone that is actively out there pitching and booking me paid speaking gigs, and they would take a commission off of that. Like that is my ideal route, but I haven't found one that I'm aligned with and has the capacity to take me on. So if you're listening and this is you, shoot me a DM. So I'm still in the process of like, okay, everything is going to be done by me right now. So Innovation Women, basically, it's a monthly membership fee. I feel like it is super accessible. It's like $150 a year. And you get access to all of these different speaking opportunities, and you can filter it out based on like, what are your key topics? How far are you willing to travel? What is your audience? All of that. So I purchased the membership. I created my profile on there. I ended up getting the content creator profile, which basically means it's a little like step above the speaker profile. So if you have a podcast and or a book, like you would get the content creator one so that you can promote your podcast and or book. Obviously, we already have a podcast and I'm in the process of writing a book. So it'll be nice to be able to promote that promote the book in the future once that's live. So I spent the hour looking into that, creating my profile, and I did already apply to some of the opportunities that are on there. So I will keep you posted to see what that looks like, and if I'm able to get anything out of it, if you're curious of potentially joining as well. But again, I feel like the speaker fee or the membership fee was super, super accessible, that even if it doesn't pan out that well, like it wasn't a big financial loss to begin with. Okay, next. Oh, so this virtual summit that I was a part of, I have been recording in my office back in the day. Wasn't even that long ago. Back in the day, I actually would set up this whole thing downstairs. So I would have a cute background, like a live background, not one of these digital backgrounds. But I was like, okay, that's too much work. I just like don't have the time, the capacity, and I hate having to like break everything down and put everything back after each recording. So now I just record here in my office and I use this digital background because my office is kind of a chaotic mess. Like it's not cute behind me. And frankly, I don't have the time to go and rearrange everything. And so when I was a part of this virtual summit, I was like reassured we did it. We did the recording on Descript. If you use that, let me know because I'm thinking about purchasing it now that we are going to start ramping up our new podcast season. And I was assured that the background would be able to be blurred through that software, through that platform, right? So she was able to do that for the actual summit, but then they did create also content for social media, and the background was not blurred for that content. And I was like, at the first time I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, it is like chaos behind me. And I thought it was going to be away. But luckily, I don't embarrass easily. Like I was probably embarrassed for like a split second and I was like, honestly, it doesn't even matter. I am a firm believer that you should be able to just show up the way that you are because frankly, like I said, I don't have time. I don't have capacity. And it is okay. Like we should all be at a place where we can accept the season that we're in, knowing this is not going to be the season that we're always in. It's a season. It's literally meant to end, right? So whatever part of your journey that you're in, know that at some point there's light at the end of the tunnel and you're going to be getting out of that season and going to it and then ends up going into a more fruitful, more luxurious, a more relaxing, whatever season you want to step into. Like that's absolutely possible for you. And I told her, like, honestly, it's totally okay. I'm still gonna accept the collaboration feature because I want to be a reminder to everyone that like, it's okay to show up as you are and to show up in the season that you're in. And as much as it would be like a luxury to have this beautiful office, like that's not my reality and that's okay. That doesn't diminish the work that I'm doing. That doesn't dilute the message that I have to share. That doesn't diminish the impact that I'm here to make. And I'm not going to let external things like that prevent me from showing up and sharing that message and making that impact, right? And I feel like we all need to be able to step past those little external things, those little vanity moments that could prevent us from showing up, and just recognize how powerful your message and your mission are and allow that to be what fuels you to continue showing up despite everything else, right? Despite if you don't have makeup on, if you're still in your gym clothes, whatever it is. Like I don't have the time. I'm literally wearing my gym clothes right now. I don't have the time to go to the gym for hour and a half and then come home and take a nice long luxurious shower and then put on my makeup and then get ready to record this. Like, that's not my reality, and I'm okay with that. I know that I want to share this podcast recording, so I'm going to do what it takes to do that, right? That to me is more important than holding off until I can get the perfect moments to have the long, luxurious shower and do the face mask and do the makeup, and then finally share my message when it's been like drawn out for so long. So, this is your little reminder. Don't let those little trivial things stop you from showing up. Nobody cares at the end of the day. Nobody cares. People care about you. People care about your character, the way that you treat people, and the things that you have to say and share, and the work that you're doing. Speaking of, one of the things that happened also this past week was that I had the incredible opportunity to reflect on the way that I want to show up as a leader, right? I had the opportunity to reflect on what Empowered by Women is all about and what our message and mission is. And it was very like grounding to have that moment to like sit in that a little bit, right? And to remind myself what leadership looks like and means to me. And it really is like leadership is not about all of your accolades, right? It's not about all of your accomplishments and all of your titles. It's not about how many followers you have or how much money you make. It's not about any of that. It's not about how many times you've been on stage and the fact that you're on stage in front of thousands of people. That is not what leadership is. That's sure, like you're an incredible established speaker, sure, but leadership, if you're going to take on that title, it's so much more than that. It's about how you, okay. Oh, there you go. It's about how you show up in the world. It's about how you step into a room and interact with and support all of the people around you, whether or not they're a person that you do lead, quote unquote, lead or not, right? Whether it's a new person or not a new person, whether it is your friends, your family, your colleagues, your clients. It's about how you show up in the world. And it really solidified in me how important our mission at Empowered by Women is. And that mission is to show all the women around us that there is a true community of support waiting to cheer them on, and what true authentic support looks like, right? There's always this notion that women are catty and blah, 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 and you have to look out for yourself, and that like at the end of the day, you have to compete to win, but that's not true. And that is not what our values that Empowered by Women is. It really is about collaboration. It really is about bringing on women that truly want to see our other women win, right? And how do we do that? How do we come from a place of service and true generosity where we can continue to support each other and not do so in a transactional way where we're waiting on something in return, but we're doing it purely because of the fact that we really want to see you win. That's the kind of community and energy and expectation that we want to nurture. That we are here to create a safe, vulnerable, inclusive space for everyone that is just trying their best to show up. And it is so important for me to share that message that you don't need to step on other women to climb a little bit higher. That is not the only way to get up there, right? That is not the only way to succeed. In fact, that's probably a very detrimental way to succeed, because at the end of the day, as I mentioned so many times before, everywhere, that we are all in the business of relationship building. And it really is about how you're nurturing those connections, regardless of how far separated those connections are. How are you nurturing those connections for longevity, for long-term growth, so that you're building a really, really solid foundation? How are you showing up in the face of adversity? How are you responding when you come across people that maybe you don't agree with, and maybe there is misalignment? How that is at the end of the day what is going to define you as a leader. What are your own values and how firmly rooted are you in those values? And how are you going to continue to show up when it does get tricky, when it does get tough, right? When things don't always go your way, when you're faced with what feels like impossible decisions. Those are all of the things that you need to think about, because at the end of the day, you being a leader, it's not about you taking on that title. It's not about how loudly you can yell that you're a leader and that you've done all these amazing things. It's not about how often you want to call yourself a leader. It's about all of the people around you that you're quote unquote leading. And it's about the movement that you're building. It's about something so much bigger than you, and rising to the occasion and rising to the challenge and taking that on wholeheartedly and without taking it for granted, right? Taking that title for granted, not taking it lightly, and recognizing that there is so much responsibility that comes with that. And you're not just making decisions for yourself, you're making decisions for everyone around you. Everything that you do has the potential to impact, whether positively or negatively, the people around you. And that's what leadership means to me. And that's the leader that I want to step into. Someone that continues to show up in high integrity and resilience and perseverance, and in a firm stance in what their values are, without diluting the integrity that you have with the people around you, right? It's okay to have boundaries. We all need to have boundaries. And that is how you can continue pursuing what you most care about. But recognizing that other people have boundaries too, that there's not always going to be alignment, that there's not always going to be a perfect fit, that you sometimes will have to create your own opportunities. Sometimes you might be rejected from opportunities, and that's okay. We still continue to show up with high integrity. Okay. So that was a great little like reflection point for me these past few weeks. Okay. This laptop dies like so easily. I'm going to back up a little bit, because sometimes this fan, when I plug in my laptop, the fan starts going a little bit crazy. And I think that affects the way that this microphone picks up sound. So I'm going to share a couple more things, and then we're going to call it a day, in case this volume isn't what I need it to be, or the sound. So one of the other things that I've done recently is actually let go of my first VA. So I had 2 VAs, and I've had one for several months now. I want to say at least 6 months. And it was kind of like up and down. And I was kind of at this point where she was my very first VA. Well, kind of, sort of. I had a VA for like 3 months back in the day. So she was my first, like, what would have been a permanent VA. And for a while, I was kind of waiting to feel really, really confident in her ability to do the handful of tasks that she was given. So she didn't have a ton of hours. She was a very part-time VA. And I wanted to make sure that she could handle those tasks without me having to come back and like make these corrections. And I was trying to see if we can get to a point where there wasn't a lot of back and forth. She was doing everything independently. That way I can offer her more and more tasks. And I think I alluded to this in episode 6, where I said, you know what, I'm going to try something new, where we're going to go ahead and, instead of kind of holding on too tightly to all of these tasks that I need done, like, I don't want to lead from a place of like micromanagement, but at the same time, I know that quality is incredibly important when it comes to serving our members and serving our community. So come episode 6, I was saying that we're going to do something a little bit different. And instead of holding on too tight to the hours, I'm actually going to empower them and give them the opportunity to work more hours and have more responsibility and more autonomy over the things that they're doing, and have less of me in it, right? Where I'm relying on them a little bit heavier to do the thing without much of my supervision. And we do weekly team calls, and that was something that I shared on the team call. And unfortunately, this VA didn't rise to the challenge as much as I hoped that she would do. right? In terms of, creating their own schedule, like go ahead and create your own schedule, but I need certain things done within a certain period of time. All of the little details. I am such a detail-oriented person, and I really need other detail-oriented people on our team, and it just didn't work out. So I have let go of one of my VAs and increased the hour for my second VA, and now she's kind of taking on all the tasks. So because of this transition, we've been working a little bit more hands-on to make sure this transition is as smooth as humanly possible. I'm still absolutely building out all the SOPs, but what I have learned, and I promise you, I have heard the phrase hire slow, fire fast. I've heard it plenty of times. But again, this is my first experience with bringing on a quote unquote permanent VA, right? And then ultimately having to let them go. And because of the season that we're in, where we're growing and we're expanding, I've recognized that there's nuance to it, right? And I wanted to be so incredibly sure that if she wasn't rising to the challenge, it was her fault if I was going to let her go. I wanted to make sure there was no gray area in that. And because of all the things, all the moving parts of Empowered by Women, I wanted to feel so confident that I had given her all the tools for her to possibly succeed. And I know we weren't at that space from when I brought her on the first time. Like, I didn't have any SOPs written. I was basically like waiting for her to read my mind, and I was telling her a bunch of things and hoping that she could just understand exactly what I needed her to do and then have her do it. And I know that was unrealistic. So through these months together, I would continue building out the SOPs and continue guiding her and giving her a little bit more support, a little bit more support, a little bit more support, until it finally got to the point where I was like, okay, now I do feel like I've given you all the tools to succeed. And now it seems like you're still not rising to the challenge. And this is where I'm going to have to draw the line. So being mindful of that, right? Where it's not just about hiring slow and firing fast. Like, you're going to continue to hear all of these little tidbits through all of these business strategists and consultants, but you also have to be mindful of how you're supporting the growth of the people around you if you are going to scale in that way and bring a team on and bring on VAs, right? Are you actually giving them the tools that they need to be supported? I'm sure we've all had 9-to-5 jobs where we're like, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. So obviously you're not going to do your job very well. So we want to make sure that we're supporting all of the members within our team and giving them the tools that they need. And also with that, consistency and quality is so important for me and for us and for everything that we're building, which is why I am constantly talking about SOPs. Because the more and more people I bring on, the more and more consistency we need to have so that we can offer that same quality of service to every single member, to every single potential member, to every single woman that enters our doors, so they can get this really beautiful experience. And so that our team members can show up super excited, as opposed to feeling discouraged or deflated because they don't know what's going on. They don't know what they're supposed to be doing. And it's just absolute chaos on the back ends. Like, that's not what we want to create. Okay. I am going to end it there. I hope you got some little tidbits out of this episode. As always, if you have any questions about the things that I'm doing, you are absolutely welcome to shoot me a DM and send me your thoughts, send me your questions. I am an open book, and I am happy to support you. And maybe we'll even answer your questions on the next few episodes. So if no questions, I would still love for you to go ahead and screenshot this podcast, let everyone know you're listening, tag us so we can repost you. But thank you for being here, for being amazing, for supporting me, supporting Empowered by Women and everything that we're doing. I think I was supposed to be diving into Book of Bijou a little bit for this episode, but I'll go ahead and save that for the next episode, and I'll share all the things with that. But for everyone that's listening, stay connected. If you're in the Bay Area, we have a couple of events coming up. We would love to see you in person. If you're in Wisconsin, we also have an event coming up in Milwaukee on the 22nd. So check that out. But a lot of things on the horizon. Super excited for all of it. And I would love all of you guys to come and be an official part of the community. But thank you for tuning in, and I will chat with you all soon.